Hi, folks. I mentioned on the AnimeNation Facebook page a couple weeks ago that Japanese retailer Surugaya was offering free express international shipping. So since then, I have made a handful of orders, but also Mandarake got in a particular item that I've been looking for now probably 20 years, maybe a little more than 20 years. So this time around, I wanted to make sure that I got it, so I made the order immediately when this particular item came in stock. Both of the latest Mandarake and Surugaya orders happened to arrive on my doorstep on the same day. So I figured that this might be an interesting um, show and tell video. Now, this stuff is not going to be possibly as fascinating as some of my earlier videos because a lot of this stuff is just duplicate stuff or stuff that I got just for the hell of it. But for those of you that find these videos interesting, or those of you who just want some interesting anime video content to occupy your time, hopefully this will do the job. I will make some very brief references, so just in the interest of total disclosure, these are my little notes to myself. You can see not very much, so I do this loosely off the top of my head. So we will start by opening this box up with a appropriate tool, and by way of contextual explanation, this particular box from Mandarake, actually I think I just cut my thumb. This particular box from Mandarake was, let's see, was 6.3 kilograms. This is 14 pounds. This box was 14 pounds. The DHL, the DHL shipping on this 14-pound box was $51 US. So keep that in mind. And yeah, it probably won't show up on camera, but yeah, my thumb is bleeding now. So yeah, not a big deal though. But what's a little bit of physical sacrifice in the game of enjoying anime? Okay. All right. Now, if you'll let me set this aside, this item is the one that I've been searching for since the late 90s. Now, this poster, I'm going to imagine, might be difficult to unroll and display. So it is a anime image from Meisang Ikoku. It's Kyoko Tanashi on the beach. This is the image. Since I had trouble finding the wall poster, I did settle for the Shikijiki a number of years ago. But now, finally, the full-size wall poster was available for 3,000 yen, or roughly 20 at current exchange rate. I don't know, $20, $21, or something like that. I wanted to make sure that I finally got it. So I'm very happy to finally have the full-size wall poster of this image. But while I was at it, let's see, I do not think I have this particular light novel. I do have all of Haruko Takachio's Japanese Dirty Pair light novels. However, this is one of the Crusher Joe light novels, which, as you can see, have Kei and Yuri on the cover. So, as a part of my slowly, gradually increasing in size Dirty Pair collection, I picked this up for 300 yen. So this book was, like $2, really quite cheap. All right, now I'm going to have to refer to my notes. This particular issue of Comic Flapper, this one contains, let's see here, the first appearance of the Boku no Tsuma wa Kanojo Ganai manga series. My Mother Is Not My Girlfriend is going to be a anime TV series in the TV season starting technically this week. Technically, the new Japanese television season that begins in July will have the Boku no Tsuma wa Kanojo Ganai anime television series. I don't know anything at all about that anime TV series. I just know that it did start as an original manga series. So I found out that I could get the first appearance of the manga for about a dollar, because this magazine was only 200 yen. So at current exchange rate, this was about $1 plus shipping. So I figured if it was available that cheap, just why not? I'll take a chance. Similarly, this particular issue of Gangan Joker contains the first appearance of the Katsute Maho Shoujo to Aku to Tekitai Shitai. No, sorry, Shitaita. Alright, let me see if I can, again, referring to my notes here. Katsute Maho Shoujo to Aku wa Tekitai Shitaita. That is another Magical Girl anime TV series that starts in the beginning of July. The first appearance of the manga was about $2 US plus shipping. Even though I don't know anything at all about the manga series, it was such a cheap first appearance. I figured, what the hell? I'm ordering anyway. Why not take a chance on it? This is, I believe, my second copy of this particular issue of Shonen Jump magazine. Hopefully the appeal of the magazine is apparent from the cover. I don't know if the live-action Luffy actor will be doing a lot of convention appearances, and I don't know what he might charge for an autograph, but if I happen to have an opportunity, I thought this might be a really neat item to get an autograph on. So that's why I've picked up, so far, 2 copies of this issue. This particular copy was, 300 yen. So this was, like $1.50, like $2, something like that, before shipping. There are a handful of Shikijiki in here. These primarily are items that I bought for my own collection. Genesis Climber Most Peada Shikijiki. This is probably vintage, probably not something that you'll see all that frequently. This was 500 yen, so for the price, I'm really happy. I'm not a huge fan of Most Peada, but for the price, I'm really happy to have it. I did not know exactly what this anime Shikijiki was before buying it. I thought, on first impression, I thought it was cream lemon, but it's not. This is apparently an original illustration by Hiroshi Watanabe, who has been a prominent animator for decades now. Hiroshi Watanabe has been a key animator on Vampire Hunter D, on Kiki's Delivery Service, on Arion, on Secret of Blue Water. He was the director of several of the Slayers motion pictures. He was the chief director of the early 2000s Sorcerer's Stabber Orphan television series. He was, I believe he worked on Gal Force as well. So I just thought it was an appealing, attractive looking image. I did not have a Shikijiki from Kore wa Zanmei desu ka, so I decided that because this one was available and attractive, I would pick this up. Actually, to my surprise, I believe that there are actually two different Shikijiki in here. This one's 300 yen. So if there are actually two different Shikijiki in here for 300 yen, making them about $1 a piece, I'm especially pleased. Picked up, I'm not a huge fan of Oishimbo, but I like having Shikijiki representations of older and more obscure anime titles. There isn't a whole lot of Oishimbo merchandise, so that's why I picked this up, just to have a representation of the title. I do not remember for certain if I have this Gal Force 2 Shikijiki. I thought I had all of the Gal Force Shikijiki, but I'm not positive. Sorry. This one was affordable enough that I decided I would pick it up just in case it might be a duplicate. Maybe, maybe not. I have, I believe, 2 of this Dirty Pair Shikijiki. However, I didn't consciously realize until very recently that I'm almost definite that the version I have has a Channel 4 television studio logo down here. This version does not have the Channel 4 studio logo. So technically speaking, this is a variant or variation of the Dirty Pair promotional Shikijiki. So I wanted to pick this one up for my Dirty Pair collection. Let's see. Applause to you if you recognize what this is. Deeds, not words. I am a huge fan of the, 1983? Is it 83, I think? 82? I'm a huge fan of the early 80s cheeseball kids action movie Megaforce. When I discovered that there was a Japanese City Road magazine with a Megaforce cover, and it was only about $5, I decided I must have this. My only regret is that there was only one copy available, because I would have loved to have bought a second copy for my close friend who's also a fan of this corny, fantastic movie. Just because they were available and really cheap with the Obi, I picked up the Japanese Spawn Volumes 2 and 3. At some point in the future, I may once again request a dealer space at one of the local conventions. Here around the Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Florida area, we do have a number of annual and even more frequent than annual comic shows that are either free or very relatively low cost, particularly for dealers. So I may, if I'm able to, request a dealer table so I can put things like this up for sale. This okay, morning. Okay, there was a problem with the order because Mandarake emailed me and said that the image didn't match the title, because I was trying to acquire the morning issue 21-22 that included the first appearance of the Batman Justice Buster manga series. This is morning 21-22. However, I think it might be from a different year because this is obviously not the issue that has the first appearance of the Batman Justice Buster manga. This is probably a relatively insignificant issue, but in that case, it was only about $1 or $2. So if this ends up being a insignificant issue, I don't really mind too much. I'm not sure that I even remember ordering 2 copies of this. Maybe I did, but I don't mind at all having 2 copies. Some of you that recognize what this is will realize that the American issue of Heavy Metal magazine that has this cover is, I think, the most valuable issue of Heavy Metal magazine. The issue from I believe it's 1979. I think it's the 1979 issue with Tarna on the cover is more valuable than the first issue of Heavy Metal magazine is. Even though the issue with this cover is not the first appearance of Tarna. It's her first cover appearance. However, the fact that I could get the same cover art on a Japanese Starlog issue for about $3 really intrigued me, so I ended up getting apparently 2 of them. And I am aware that the Earwig and the Witch movie is not an especially well-regarded Ghibli movie. However, this is one of the Ghibli Animage Art of books. You can see it's rather a thick tome. I have very, very nearly a complete set of the Japanese Animage Art of Ghibli movie books. This was one of the more recent ones that I did not have in my collection, and this was only 1,500 yen, so it was only about $12, $13, something like that, $10. So just to keep my set complete, I wanted a copy of this. So that's what's included in the Mandarake order. So if you'll indulge me for a moment, if you're still with me, we'll take a look at the Surugaya order, to pronounce that with correct Japanese pronunciation. Surugaya. Suruga is the Japanese word for a admirable horse, like a stallion, a very fast racehorse, for example, would be a Suruga. So that's where the retailer Surugaya got its name. Now, for reference, if you are interested in making an order from Surugaya, I would highly recommend doing it while they're offering their free international shipping. Because, for example, as I mentioned, the Mandarake order was the Mandarake order was £14 and cost me $51 in shipping. This box is £26. This one cost me about $3 in shipping. From Surugaya during their sales, there is a flat 500 yen service fee. So that's about $3 US. And as long as you pay the $5 service fee during the sale, Surugaya will cover the cost of DHL International Express shipping, which means that your order arrives from Japan to you in the United States in about a week or less. So you can imagine that the shipping cost on this order alone was probably $100, maybe over $100. So being able to get a discount of $100 or so because of free shipping makes buying from Surugaya really, really worthwhile. And for that reason is why I ended up buying a lot of duplicate stuff. Now, first, as I mentioned, I have a very near complete set of the AnimeNation Art of books. This one is The Art of Marnie was here. Omoide, no, sorry, different movie. Omoide no Mari. I believe now with Earwig and this, I believe How Do You Live is the only AnimeNation Art of book that I'm still missing from the Ghibli series. On one of my previous Surugaya orders, I ended up purchasing 2 of the Fuko figure from Undead Unluck. My intention was to possibly sell these at a local convention because I'm not a huge fan of the show, but these figures were something like $3 or $4 a piece. They were super cheap. But I figured that since I've got 2 of the Fuko, I should get the matching Angie figures. So that's why I picked up 2 of the Angie figures to match the Fuko and possibly to sell these at some future local convention. Similarly, let's see where stuff is. I have a set of the Licorice Recoil figures. I have a set over in my display case. However, because they were very affordable, I picked up a second set. My intention with these, again, is to possibly put these up for sale at some future local anime or comic show. Similarly, I have my own set of the ReZero, ROM, and REM by QT Bunny figures. Now, one of them I have in the red outfit, the other I have in the blue outfit. However, I decided to buy an extra of each of them in a matching red, so these I will possibly put up for sale at some future local comic show. Did I pick up? Yes. Similarly, I picked up 2 of these cute little seated Yor figures from Spy Family. These are the Puchiete Relax figures. I have not yet decided if I'll put both of these up for sale or whether I'll keep one for my own collection and then possibly sell the other at a future convention. But that was my intention with these. I picked up, let's see, 1, 2, is it only 2? I think, oh, come on. No, alright, just 2. I have one of the girl figures from the recent anime series Shy that I picked up possibly to resell. I picked up 2 more of them because these were really, really affordable. These were only something like $3 a piece. So I don't know how popular the show is, and I don't know if I'll find anyone here in the local central western Florida area that's going to be interested in buying these from me at some future comic or anime show. But I figured these were cheap enough of a investment on my part that I'd pick them up and just see what happens. Similarly, I have a Overlord Albedo figure in my display case that I'm really happy with. However, this particular Albedo in kimono figure was something like $5. It was really, really cheap. So I picked this up, figuring that maybe I will keep it, or maybe I will offer it up for sale at some future little local show. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed Kusuria no Hitori Goto this past anime season. So there is a lot of apothecary merchandise, but this is, I think, the only conventional figure I've come across so far. So this was about $10. So for that price, I'm pretty happy with it. So this is one that I'm expecting to open up and put in my display case. However, it's her seated, so I'm not sure if I'm going to need something to seat her on. That might determine whether or not I display this figure. But this one is one I bought for my personal collection. Wow, this is much bigger than I expected. I discovered that Surugaya does offer Japanese happy coats. They offer ones that have, anime character designs on them. Ones like this are usually fairly expensive. Ones with full illustrations like this are usually up in the $50 to $100 range. This one, for whatever reason, happened to be really, really affordable. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say this one was under $20 US. It's much bigger than I expected, but it's size large, so I guess it'll probably fit me just fine. So if you happen to come to a local convention that I happen to be at, maybe you'll recognize me because you'll see me wearing this. Let's see. All right. One of my close friends happens to be a fan of the Harry Potter franchise, so we discovered that there were, I guess you would call these large shot glasses, or maybe smaller, typical Japanese size glasses. These are Ichiban Kuji lottery prizes from Japan. We found that there were 3 of them available. The Ravenclaw, the Slytherin, and the Hufflepuff, right? I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so forgive me if I got those names wrong. But I think we figured out that there is also a Gryffindor, which makes a set of 4, but the Gryffindor was sold out. So my friend ended up currently with 3 out of 4 of them. This is another item that my close friend purchased. Let's see if I can get this. If I can get this open without further damaging the box, you'll see that this is a traditional beer glass. However, you may be able to tell that this is a Ghibli Museum exclusive Lapta Castle in the Sky glass. The Ghibli Museum exclusives are relatively exclusive. So, this is apparently part of the Ghibli tag label. Let's see. This issue of Afternoon magazine, if you can't tell, contains the first appearance of Tony Takazaki's Space Pinchy manga. Now, for reference, actually, let's see. I'm not sure how many American manga fans know that the Space Pinchy manga was actually fully translated into English in a single graphic novel volume by Dark Horse. This was published relatively early in the manga invasion. I have read this, but it's been a number of years. I vaguely remember it as being very similar to a manga-esque Barbarella. I wasn't consciously looking for the first appearance. However, when I was looking through new editions to Surugaya, I discovered that this just happened to come in stock. And I thought, so I looked it up and confirmed that this is the first appearance. And I thought, well, that's kind of neat. So just because it was available and really affordable, since I have read the manga, I decided I would pick that up. Probably a bit obvious, this issue of Champion Red magazine is the first appearance of the Batman and the Justice League manga. This is the relatively recent one. This did get released in America in, I want to say, three volumes. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get multiple copies of this, so this is just one copy that will stay in my personal collection. Because it was available relatively cheap, I picked up a second copy of the first appearance of Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer. I am pleased to see that this copy was cheaper than the first copy that I bought. And I think this copy might actually be in better condition than the first copy I bought. I believe the first copy of this I bought, I paid somewhere around $70 for it. This copy, I paid somewhere right around $50 US for it. And I figured that going forward, it's never going to be cheaper than it is now. So while it was available at what I considered a very affordable price, I decided I'd pick up a second copy. Picked up some Shikijiki. Primarily, this one is for Peto Peto-san. I'm not sure how many of you viewers are familiar with or remember the anime series Peto Peto-san. I really enjoyed it back, 15 years ago or so now. I honestly have I have forgotten what the back of the Shikijiki illustration is, but my concern was the front, Peto Peto-san. I am also a fan of the series Military. Not so much the manga. I'm not very familiar with the manga. I don't think. It's been a number of years. But I did watch the anime series, and I thought the anime was cute. And so I was surprised to see a Shikijiki based on Military. So I was happy to pick this up. Just for reference, for full disclosure, this is a full case retail display box of Visop Cognac glasses. These are apparently, or if this is what they're supposed to be, they have illustrations commemorating the American swing dance era. The entire set of these was something like $10. It was super cheap. So my close friend, who is on sort of a rampage of collecting Japanese glassware, picked this up. I think he probably made a pretty good choice. Well, depending on what this looks like once we open it up, I think he probably made a pretty good investment on this. And in terms of pretty good investment, the final item is this monstrous echidna, right? That's who this is. I believe this is Rostov. Does it say it? Oh, all right. You remember I mentioned that my list of notes was very small. I'm doing this off my memory. Yeah, echidna. I'm not the biggest fan of ReZero. I really enjoyed the first season. I thought the second season just got painfully redundant. It just felt it started just feeling dumb to me, so I kind of gave up on the second season. However, I believe there are at least, I think there are 4 figures of these busts that are like really large. And typically they're fairly expensive. Typically these things run in like the $75 and up range. However, this one reportedly has some very minor damage to the back of her head. I decided if I'm going to display it, I'm not going to see the back of it anyway, so I don't really care. So I think that my cost on this was something like $20, $25. So I decided it's a nice enough looking figure, and at that price, I'm willing to pick this up and put this in my display case. So that's what came in the most recent 2 orders. Any of you that have watched my previous videos know that I do not have a very large social media presence. Therefore, should you have any inclination to contact me, I encourage you to go ahead and contact me. As I mentioned, I'm not especially great about social media, so I can promise that I will try to respond to any contacts, any questions, any comments. And if you're still watching this video, I hope that this has entertained you at least a little bit. So, with that said, I will sign off.